Hello, everybody. I'm trying to be regular again and post a video each week because I have discovered that there are people like you out there in the world who like listening to me share my thoughts about the kinds of things that I'm thinking about as I go reflecting about my own life's journey, particularly as a scholar learning languages and studying humanistic type things. Just sharing my advice, counsel of somebody who's been there before for people who might want to go there and appreciate hearing it. So one thing that I've talked about many times over the years in various ways is the importance of the daily habit, consistency, doing the same thing on a regular basis, really forming the daily habit. I demonstrated that not too long ago in the series where I learned Catalan. I showed how I did that every single day throughout the month. And to me, that is really the true key to success in mastering anything, particularly languages, learning lots of languages, developing breadth and width of knowledge of various kinds of languages, of going into depth in certain languages to get into their literatures and the cultures. I just can't emphasize enough how important that has always seemed to me just naturally, to get into the habit and to do something every single day. But I've become aware, over the course of my life that, maybe there's a certain kind of person that's caught out for that, and that there are other people for whom a daily habit, is daily, but there's days that don't sort of count as days. They're days out of time. There are people who need to have that sort of Sabbath, that weekend, maybe 2 days even, if they regard what they're doing as work, something that they need a break from, or just because they're so designed that they need a time to do something different. You need a time for something completely different. And I suppose I can understand that and appreciate that and think, okay, a person like that could also strive to have a daily habit, but just knowing his or her personality that needs this sort of break or time out to build that in. So a daily habit might mean 6 days on, 1 day off, or 5 days on, 2 days off, or 3 days on, 1 off, and then another 3 and 1 off, depending on how a person is structured. But I still think that any degree that a regular systematic habit can be built in is the kind of sine qua non of success and making progress in anything. It's not guaranteed even then, and there are unfortunately ways that one can get stuck in a rut doing the same thing every day and not be doing deliberate practice, not just sort of spinning one's wheels and not making progress or not actually doing anything, but just sort of going through the motions. And obviously that's not wanted, that's not ideal, but that habit formation, that ability to get into a mode where you just do what you do regardless of how you feel or what you're thinking about or what you're preoccupied about. You just consistently do something kind of no matter what's happening around you, not to the degree of insensitivity, not to the degree of when you have some sort of crisis, true crisis, when life impinges upon you, there are times when that gets broken. But a true habit will have been established and can bounce back from that. And unfortunately, I realized that myself, because people come to me for advice with things like scholarship and language learning, that for me, that kind of thing doesn't happen. With languages, I try to form habits with lots of other things, with music and art and physical exercise and stuff like that. And all of these other areas and ways of life, I'm much more human, as it were, less of a robot. I can get knocked off my thing. I can work really hard at setting up an exercise regime and do it consistently for 6 months or a year or a couple of years. And yet, something can knock me off that. Somehow I get injured or I get sick or just something gets busy. I fall out of the exercise habit and then I have to reestablish it again. Same thing with music, playing the flute or art or drawing or things that I would really like to do. And I make real efforts at doing them. I get in the habit for a while. And even after a couple of months or years of habits, I find that those kind of habits can be distracted or broken by yeah, just by breaking the routine. Obviously, you break the routine and you break the chain of the habit, and it's really hard to get that going again. Whereas with things that I really love, like languages, that just doesn't happen. Once I've got the habit established, yes, I can get knocked off my wheels for a day or two, but I can just jump right back on and get on it because I've taken through long practice of that habit, I've taken that habit and made it truly internalized. So it's just sort of my operating system. And if you can do that with your passion, if you can somehow, some way reach inside yourself and get that daily habit going, you might have to spend effort at it for, I don't know, for years. I certainly did. When I give, advice about consistency and consistency of study, one thing that I resonate with so many of the students in my academy is that all through my time, all through my 20s, throughout graduate school, I had these ideals of setting up, a solid study regime and working very consistently and sort of making myself the kind of scholar, the kind of person that I wanted to be, developing my mind as, according to ideals that I had. And I'd get very depressed because I'd fail to follow my programs and my studies. It was only after graduate school, in my 30s when I hit my stride. And that was 30 years ago. And somehow once I hit it, I haven't gotten knocked off of it because I had that ideal for so long to have the daily habit, and I got the daily habit. And a daily habit in the area that is the main passion of your life, I think, coupling that with, again, avoiding getting stuck in a rut, avoiding, doing useless things, but coupling that with deliberate practice, when you break everything down into its, every single step of what you're doing, and you think about each step of it and make micro improvements in that area. When you just become that sort of living, breathing entity for the passion that you have, I think that that's the key. That's the ideal. So I understand, like I just said, in my 20s, I had that, and it was frustrating not to attain it, but I think it's good to have that ideal and just to have that in front of you. Just think about if you're somebody who wants to achieve something in the realm of language learning or any creative endeavor or any sort of artistic or anything, I guess. If you have that, is it what should I strive for? What should my ideal be to get into? To do something with this, I would say, focus on that. Focus on thinking about developing the daily habit. I hope that was useful and interesting to you, and I will talk to you again next week. Thank you for listening.